Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So it has been a bit of time since I was able to make a tutorial for you guys, but I'm back with a headphone cover tutorial today. So I'm just going to go ahead and get into what you're going to need to make this. We're going to be needing 2 colors of brown. You're going to need a darker one and a lighter one. You're also going to be using a 4mm crochet hook. You're going to need your scissors, your yarn needle. So my sister has these older headphones that we wanted to cover up and make them look a little bit better. So we're going to start by making off this part. So you're going to go ahead and grab the dark brown yarn, which is the color we're going to start off with. Grab your 4mm crochet hook, and we're going to go ahead and chain 20. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then we're going to go ahead and join this into a loop by slip stitching back into the first chain. Then we're going to go ahead and chain 2. And we are going to be increasing in every single stitch around. We're going to be using half double crochets. So this should take you from 20 stitches up to 40 stitches. And of course the chain 2 will count as your first half double crochet. So we're just going to go ahead and increase in every single stitch like I said before. One thing though to keep in mind is I think that all headphones are pretty much the same size, but you might want to measure off of your own pair as you're going just to make sure that it seems to be fitting how it's supposed to. So you might want to watch the video through so you can kind of keep an eye on how it's going to work before you start making it, or just like fast forwards ahead to see how it's going to fit. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and finish this row and then I'll be right back. Okay, now that we have finished our round and we have our 40 half double crochets, we're going to slip stitch into the top of our chain 2. And now we're just going to chain 2 and we're going to half double crochet into every single stitch around. And the chain 2 again will count as a half double crochet. And you want to end up with 40 stitches again because we're not increasing or decreasing, we're just making half double crochets the whole way around. So pretty straightforward. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this row as well off camera and then I will be right back. Alright, and then once you reach the end of this round, you should have something that looks like this. And we're going to go ahead and slip stitch again into the top of the chain 2. Then for this round, we're going to want to increase 4 times. So we're going to make 9 half double crochets and then have an increase in the 10th stitch. Again, the chain 2 is going to count as your first half double crochet. And then we're just going to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then an increase. And you should be able to do this 4 times. You're going to repeat that around. And then at the end of this round, you should have 44 stitches. And then once you've done that, we're going to again slip stitch into the top of our chain 2. And then for the next 3 rounds, we're going to be just making a chain 2 at the beginning and then half double crochet into every stitch around, keeping 44 stitches. in the next 3 rounds. And just at the end of every round, slip stitching into the top of your chain 2, making another chain 2, and then just half double crocheting around again. So I am going to go ahead and finish these next 3 rounds off camera, and then I'll be back and we'll finish off this part of the headphone together. Alright, and once you finish the 3rd round, this is what you should have. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to slip stitch into our chain 2 once again. And then you're just going to fasten off and grab your scissors. And this is what you should have so far. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to loosely tie these 2 ends together just to kind of keep them out of the way. You don't want to tie it too tightly or it's going to mess with the shape of the edges and pull it in. So I'm just going to, like I said, loosely knot it like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, I'm just going to go ahead actually quickly and show you how this is going to fit. So this, we're going to fold that in, and this I'm going to put along the bottom here. And you're going to stretch it across the end here. And it should completely cover the soft part and then some as well. So it should fit something like this. And for the next step, we're going to be adding drawstrings in the center and in the outside just to make it fit better. So we're just going to take 2 good lengths of yarn for this section, and we're going to be using our yarn needle. So I'm going to take the shorter one here. Since I did the half double crochets in 2 loops, I only have 1 loop left from the chain, and that's what I'm going to be going through. So I'm just going to go in 1, down, and then up through the next one, and then put my needle down, and then put it up through the next one, and we'll just pull the yarn partly through, but leave some space for tying. And then again, we're going to put our needle down through the next one, up through that one, and then we're just going to keep going like this until we have our yarn all the way through every single stitch, just like that. And then we're going to just leave it like that for now, and then we're going to take our longer piece, thread it through, and we're going to be going through the outside loops. That's what I'm going to be using. Just going to go up for a start, leave a piece for tying, and then just continue threading it through. And we're also not trying to pull the drawstring tight until we've put it on the headset. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to stretch it out as much as we can. Go ahead and make sure that the seam is where you want it to be. And then we're just going to stretch it. There we go. We're going to start with the center one. We're going to pull it as tight as we want it to be. Well, I'm going to tie it one time first to make this a little bit easier. We're going to do something like that is what I think looks good. And then I'm just going to tie it, cut the edges shorter, and then we will hide them in the headpiece there. It'll be easier to do that once the other side is fastened. And then for this side, we're just going to make sure that it's at a good place where when we tighten it, it will be held on. As you can see, mine's like over the edge, so it starts to go thinner here, which is exactly what I want. Because then when we tie this here, we tighten it like that, and then it won't be coming off. So you're just going to tighten it as much as you can. I'm just going to cut this one shorter. And then here I'm going to take my needle, and we're just going to use this and kind of string it up the side. Just kind of alternate stitches. It doesn't have to be perfect though. We'll just pull it up here just to hide it a little bit, and then we will cut it off. And through there. Okay, now for the next section, we're going to be making the cover on the outside of the headphones, which is going to look like this. This is how we're going to attach it. Feel free, if you want to just make this cover and then put whatever other thing you want on the outside, go right ahead, but I'm going to be making little bear heads to stick on the outside. But we're going to start off with the piece underneath. And I'm using the light brown color for this. And I'm going to go ahead and start with a magic ring. And in our magic ring, we're going to make 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then go ahead and pull the magic ring shut. And we're going to slip stitch into our first single crochet. And there we go. And now we're going to increase in every stitch around to get from 6 stitches to 12. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 12. And then for our next round, we're going to be making 1 single crochet in the first stitch, followed by an increase in the second stitch. And this is what you're going to be repeating the whole way around, doing an increase in every other stitch. And this should take you up to 18 stitches in a round. Okay, and then for the next round, our repeat is going to be 2 single crochets followed by an increase. And this will take us from 18 stitches up to 24 stitches in a round. And we're going to go ahead and just do that one more time. 2 single crochets, and then an increase in the third one. And you're just going to repeat that the whole way around, and then come back here and I'll show you what to do next. So for those of you that know about this continuous increasing in a flat circle, we're going to keep going until we have 48 stitches in a round. So if you know what you're doing, you can go ahead and just work that whole thing, but if you're more of a beginner, you can just come back and I'll show you what to do in the next step. So our next step is going to be 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then an increase in the fourth one. And this should take you to 30 stitches in a round. And just one more time, 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then an increase in the 4th stitch. Okay, so I'll finish this round and I'll be right back. Okay, and now for the next round, we're going to be doing 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 single crochets, and then an increase in the 5th one. And at the end of this round, you should have 36 stitches in a round. So I'm going to go ahead and finish doing this one with a repeat of 4 single crochets and then an increase, and then I will be right back. For the next round, we're going to be doing 5 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we're going to do an increase into the 6th stitch from where we started. And at the end of this row, you should have 42 stitches in a round. So again, 5 single crochets. It's 3, 4, 5, and then our increase right here. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this round, and then I'll be right back. And for our last round of increases, we're going to be making 6 single crochets, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then an increase into the 7th stitch. And you're just going to repeat that around, and at the end of this you should have 48 stitches. Okay, and now for our next 2 rounds, what we're going to be doing is just single crocheting in every stitch around, keeping the same number of 48 stitches. So you're going to do that for 2 rounds, and then you'll come back, and then we will attach this to the other piece of our headphone cover. So I'll be right back. Okay, and then after you finish the 2 rounds, it should be looking something like this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make 2 slip stitches to finish it off, and then fasten off. But you want to leave a nice long piece that can reach all the way around to sew it on. So I'm just gonna pull out length sort of like that and cut it off and have a nice long piece for sewing. You're gonna grab your yarn needle and then the headphones. So what I am doing is we're just going to lay that on there, and I'm gonna, as you know, this is kind of a hexagon shape, so I'm just gonna line this flat side with the top here. Whatever works best for you. Obviously you don't have to sew this on exactly the same way I do it. I'm just going to, since I'm doing it this way, I'm just gonna move the yarn back and forth a little bit in here, just putting it back and forth through these top stitches so that it'll be where it's supposed to, and then I have the yarn right here at the edge. And you can move this top part just for when you're sewing it on. So I'm just going to hold this here, and right beside it is where I'm going to be making the first stitch. And then I'm going to come in here and up here. And as you're going along, at first there's some spaces, but as you continue to work your way around, you'll be able to pull it a whole lot more tight. Like that, kind of. And as you know, this outside piece will be a little bit, it has 4 more stitches around than the last piece, because this last one was 44 stitches around, while this one is 48. But that will just come around here, as you can see. So that's how that's going to look. Just so that you know what is happening. And through here, and here. And you're just going to continue to sew like this the whole way around this section. And then I'll meet you, or I'll be back when I've reached the end. Okay, so I made it about halfway through. Well, no, I actually finished the whole thing and then remembered that I covered the charging portal, so that really will not help much now, will it? So what we're going to do now is we're going to work up to right beside the charging place. And I guess this one's going to be a little bit difficult because it's going to pull it all the way up. But I'm going to skip about 3 stitches like this, just going back and forth through the light brown. 3 or 4, I'm not sure how many I will need to make this as obvious as possible. Yeah, I'm gonna do, that might be, let's try that. And then we're going to go into this one here and work right away back into this one up here instead of doing 2, just to try and keep that as open as we can. I'm going to finish this up and then I'll be back once I reach the end of this. Alright, and then once you're on your last stitch, getting as close to the attachment part here as possible, we're going to leave a loop here so that we can put our needle back through here and use that to tie it off. Then we're going to insert our needle down right beside where we tied it off, and we're going to stick it as far down as we can, which is about there. And then we're going to hide our tail in the headphone cover. There we go. And then we'll close it up again and cut this off. And now we have the outside cover on, and a hole left here to charge it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make this. We're going to be using the light color. So you're going to chain 10, and then we're going to skip 2, because that's our chain 2, and we're going to make 8 half double crochets all the way along. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we're going to chain 2, turn our work, and half double crochet 8 back across. And we're just going to continue in making half double crochet rows of 8 back and forth all the way until this is long enough to cover as much of the top as you're looking to cover. So I'm probably going to go from like a little bit below this and then all the way over. And we might have to do drawstrings here just to be sure to hold it in place, but we'll see how this goes. So I'm just going to keep on making these rows until it is long that I want it. And then I will be right back. Pressing that off. And I left a long tail for sewing this on, which I was thinking of slip stitching it on, but I think it will look a lot better if I just sew it on with a needle, and then it won't have a bulky seam on the back, hopefully, fingers crossed. And so we're gonna start by adjusting it. I'm gonna put it right above this joint. And then start to sew it on. And try not to leave any big gaping holes in the seams where we are stitching. So every time you put your needle through, you want to be sure that you're at least grabbing 2 yarns in the stitch, not just one of these looser ones, which are a lot easier to stick it through, but you want to make sure that you're grabbing 2 and 2 every single time. And like that. And then if you want, you can just pull it tight, or you can just leave it like that. And then I'm gonna cut it off. I left way too long of a sewing piece on here, but that's okay. And I'm just gonna tie these 2 together. Oh, that did not work very well. There we go. And just knot that twice to secure it, and then I'm going to try to hide these in the cover, and then that's what we have so far. So now we're going to go ahead and make the bear head. So we're going to start with the magic ring. Oops. And we're going to be making 5 single crochets into our magic ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're going to slip stitch back into our first single crochet to make our circle. Okay, and now we're going to increase in every single stitch around, which should get us from 5 single crochets to 10 single crochets. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we're going to increase in every other stitch around which should get us up to 15 stitches. So make 1 single crochet, increase in the second stitch, 1 single crochet, increase in the second stitch, and we're going to do that all the way around until we have 15 stitches. And for the next 3 rounds, we're just going to be single crocheting around, keeping the same number of 15 stitches. 2. So I will go ahead and finish that, and then I will be right back and we will start decreasing. Alright, now once you finish those 3 rounds of 15, we're going to go ahead and decrease in every other stitch to get us back down to 10 stitches in a round. Single crochet and then a decrease. Single crochet and then a decrease until it gets you back down to 10 stitches. Which would be 1 full round of this. Which I think that's it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Perfect. And then for the last round of the head, we're going to go ahead and make 5 decreases. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then the way that I ended the last one was I went through the 4 other stitches and then I pulled this loop through and fastened off like that, which you can do it however it works best for you. So you can also just cut this off and then with the needle we went through all of them, all of the top stitches, and then pull it tight like that as well, and then also tie it off somehow. Whatever works best. Just close it up and fasten it off. And then I'm just gonna pull this through here and cut off the tail. And now it's time for the ears, which obviously you're going to need 2 of them. How I made them was I made a magic ring, make a slip stitch in the magic ring, and then we will make 4 single crochets into the magic ring. And once you've made the 4 single crochets into the magic ring, we're going to close up the circle and slip stitch back into the first single crochet. And now we're going to increase in every single stitch around, going from 4 stitches to 8. And I would recommend making these stitches as tight as possible. To make the bottom of the ear curl in as much as you can. And then I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into this first one again, just to close up the circle. And then we're going to fasten off, and have your string for sewing. And you're not going to want to leave the magic ring end too long, or it will be hard to stuff into the ear. And we're going to be just sewing them on with a needle right about here and there. So I'm going to go ahead and make a second one and sew them on real quick. Okay, so I went ahead and tied a ribbon onto the top of the head, just in between the two ears. And you can also glue it to secure it. I also used felt for the noses. If you're wondering what stuff I used, and I just hot glued them on because I figured that would work a little bit better than sewing them on. So that right there is our finished product. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I know it's been a while since I posted something. But yeah, life has been a little bit busy right now, but I am trying to get videos done whenever I can, just to keep putting out tutorials, because this is really, I really enjoy doing this. I'll see you in the next video.